The War Council of the Crimson Nebula had never seen a human before. 7 of the galaxy's most feared warlords sat around the obsidian table, each commanding fleets that had burned entire civilizations. The chamber itself was designed to intimidate, walls adorned with the weapons of conquered enemies, gravity set to crushing levels, and an atmosphere thick with the pheromones of violence. Into this den of apex predators walked Colonel Rebecca "Becca" Morrison, carrying nothing but a standard military briefcase and wearing a uniform that looked like it belonged at a suburban PDA meeting. "Gentlemen," she said pleasantly, taking the single empty chair without invitation, "thank you for seeing me on such short notice." Warlord Krex Thor the Bloodletter leaned forward, his 4 arms bristling with ceremonial blades. "Human, you have 30 seconds to explain why we shouldn't flay you alive for the insult of appearing before us unarmed and unescorted." Becca opened her briefcase and pulled out what appeared to be a children's tablet. "Oh, I'm not unarmed. And honestly, 30 seconds should be plenty." She tapped the screen cheerfully. "Now, I understand you gentlemen have been having some territorial disputes?" General Vax Moore, whose cybernetic implants still dripped with the oil of his latest victims, laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Disputes? We are locked in eternal war, human. Each of us commands death itself." "Right. About that," Becca said, scrolling through her tablet like she was checking a grocery list. "I've been reviewing your recent conflicts. Very impressive kill counts, by the way. Krex Thor, that thing you did to the Altuvian colonies? Absolutely brutal. And Vax Moore, the way you turned the Helix Station into that art installation made of screaming prisoners? Chef's kiss." The warlords exchanged glances. This wasn't going how these conversations usually went. "However," Becca continued, "I noticed something interesting. You're all fighting over the same resources, right? Deuterium mines, strategic hyperspace routes, slave populations. Classic zero-sum thinking." Zargoth the World Render slammed his massive fist on the table, cracking the obsidian. "There is no other way, human. One wins, all others lose. See, that's where you're wrong." Becca turned her tablet around, showing them a colorful chart that looked like it belonged in a middle school presentation. "What if I told you there was a way for each of you to triple your current resources without fighting each other at all?" The silence that followed was more dangerous than any roar of anger. "Speak quickly," hissed Supreme Painbringer Thalux. "It's simple. You've been thinking too small. This whole nebula region? It's basically the galactic equivalent of 7 sharks fighting over a goldfish bowl. Meanwhile, there are entire sectors of unconquered space just sitting there, ripe for the taking." She tapped her tablet again. "The Andorian Republic, 12 systems, minimal defenses, vast industrial capacity. The Centauri Collective, pacifist philosophers with more resources than they know what to do with. The entire Outer Rim, basically a giant please conquer us sign." Warlord Esekethar, who had been silent until now, leaned forward. "And why would you share this information with us?" Becca's smile was the most terrifying thing any of them had ever seen. "Because Earth needs customers. You see, we've got this military-industrial complex that's been rather bored since we achieved galactic peace. Turns out, the most efficient way to keep our weapons manufacturers happy is to make sure there are plenty of wars happening somewhere else." She pulled out 7 identical contracts. "Standard partnership agreement. We provide you with detailed intelligence, tactical support, and the occasional experimental weapon system. You provide us with a percentage of conquered resources and agree not to attack any human-protected worlds." "You would arm us?" Krex Thor asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Oh, we'll do better than that. We'll teach you how to win." Becca stood up, closing her briefcase. "Earth's been perfecting warfare for 10,000 years. We've had wars so efficient we ended civilizations before lunch and were home in time for dinner. We've developed strategies so effective that our enemies surrendered before the fighting started." She placed her business card on the table. "The question is, do you want to keep playing at being warlords in this tiny corner of space? Or do you want to learn how to conquer galaxies?" 1 hour later, Colonel Morrison walked out of the chamber with 7 signed contracts and a schedule for joint military exercises. The Crimson Nebula Wars ended that day. The galactic conquest began the next morning.